Okay, next we have Cody Callerman, and he's from Edisto. He's a Marine Corps veteran and a South Carolina hemp farmer who has previously used medicinal cannabis when he lived in California. So he's going to share a few thoughts about that.
Thank you. I never tried cannabis until about 3 years ago when I was living in California. Around that same time, a very close family member of mine was in excruciating pain after a surgical accident, no fault of her own. She was taking about 130 milligrams of opioids a day and was barely human anymore. I remember being able to call her and she couldn't even speak. She was unable to eat or even drink water, and I knew my mother would have passed away if it wasn't for her trying cannabis. And thanks to cannabis, she was completely off the opioids within 2 weeks and is now a contributing member of society once again. Seeing how it gave my mother her life back, I finally decided to try cannabis for myself for my service-related injuries and PTSD. To my surprise, after trying cannabis a couple times, I was shocked that it isn't as evil as we're all taught it is. I was finally able to sleep for more than 5 hours a night. I don't have nightmares anymore, and nearly made all the pain from my nerve damage go away. I've watched plenty of veterans I know on a VA pill diet just not human anymore. I just want to see them normal again. Normal as in the men I met and I served with, not the pill zombies they became. This is why I dropped and sold everything 2 years ago, left a very stable government job in the middle of COVID to come to my beautiful home state and help build this hemp industry and hopefully the future cannabis industry. It's an amazing plant that is capable of so much. Everyone I've met in this industry all have one thing in common. This plant has either affected their lives or one of their loved one's lives for the better. Now is the time to help change lives of so many people in pain. Let us have the choice. We've always been told our country is land of the free and the home of the brave, and I valiantly stand by that. But now is the time where we were the brave ones, and now is the time for us to have the freedom of choice of treatment. Thank you.
My life took a 180. I was able to get out. I was able to hang out with my family and talk with my family.
That's a sentiment many veterans echoed after trying marijuana. Some legally through trials or in other states. Others turn to it illegally just to get some relief.
If they seek cannabis to help treat themselves because they don't want the pills, they're a criminal.
But that decision to use it illegally limits job opportunities and eventually led Christopher Snyder to leave South Carolina and go to Oregon where it's legal.
It destroyed me. My mom and dad mean the world to me, and to leave them, to leave my home where I grew up, it was a lot, but I had to do it. It's something I knew I had to do.
Pills shouldn't be our only option.
Veterans tell me many struggle with PTSD, depression, chronic pain, and other things they feel could be treated better with medical marijuana.
You can't overdose on the plant. Last year, 1,899 people overdosed from opioids in South Carolina, and that number is only increasing at least 50% year over year. Veterans are twice as likely to die from opioid overdoses, and one veteran kills himself every 3 days from suicide in South Carolina. My name is Cody Callerman, and we are the South Carolina Veterans for Medical Cannabis. We also have Mr. Gary Hess here with Veterans Alliance for Holistic Alternatives. There's been a lot of talk about veterans and their possibly lying about their conditions to get medical cards, and that is absolutely outrageous. I'll just share a little story with myself before I let Mr. Gary Hess come up here. I'm a Marine veteran, hemp farmer, and I started believing in cannabis after personally watching it help change people's lives for the better, helping me when I needed it the most. My journey started the morning I woke up from a phone call from my mother. She was hysterically crying, and I couldn't believe what she was saying to me, but my best friend, Corporal Julian Ortiz, took his life. I was the last person to speak to him on the phone. Sorry. And I still, to this day, feel like that I could have done more. And then it starts happening more and more. More Marines I served with start taking their own lives. And there's a bigger problem when you start losing more Marines to opioid overdoses and suicides than you do in the enemy fire. And unlike many of the veterans here, and I'll let them tell their stories, but I was very lucky that I lived in California after leaving the Marine Corps, and I had access to legal cannabis. Although I never used it or believed in it before, it didn't take me to realize that I was wrong. I could use it for my back pain, my GI issues, helping me fall asleep at night, and just making me feel present in my life. Cannabis works extremely well, and pills shouldn't be our only option. This is why I came back to South Carolina and got in this fight. I don't just believe, I know that cannabis can help people. Suicides and opioid-related drug overdoses are at an all-time high, and that number is only increasing by a percentage of more than 50% year over year. Veterans are twice as likely to die from opioid overdoses, and in South Carolina, like the senator said before, we lose one veteran every 3 days. Just ask us about any of our brothers and sisters that are no longer with us today and the reason that we do this today. And then we had the adverse health effects of Agent Orange of the past and burn pit exposure that I've been through, PTSD from things we can't unsee to that unknown darkness that's still sitting around the corner. And after all that, we're being told that we will lie about our conditions. In order to get a disability rating from the Department of Veteran Affairs, we have to go through multiple VA doctors and third-party physicians and specialists. This is why we are here, because we cannot take it anymore. We all know at least one family member, no matter how distant, where medical cannabis can create a normal life for them. Whether it's like my own mother, making her my mom again, or someone's child that can be a kid for the first time. What makes it morally right that just because someone doesn't like cannabis means that other people can't use it to benefit themselves and help them, their lives and their health and their mental health? We are known for our southern hospitality in this state, especially my fellow veterans, for being loving and compassionate to one another. Compassionate. Compassionate's in the bill's name. Compassionate for the mentally ill and the veterans that suffer every day. Compassion to let them feel and live a normal life once again. Compassion because they need it. This is why all these veterans are here today, in support of the Compassionate Care Act for our access to medical cannabis. We chose to serve our country, so now it's time to have our freedom of choice in medical treatment.
Well, a major step forward for the medical marijuana bill in South Carolina. The Senate approved Bill 150 this morning, and it's now on to the House. We caught up with a Charleston veteran pushing for the bill, and he says this is a great step forward for the state. Cody Callerman knows the benefits of medical marijuana all too well.
I had my own personal struggles years after leaving the Marine Corps, and I was living in California at the time, so I had access to legal recreational cannabis, and that definitely helped me.
A Marine Corps veteran and hemp farmer, Callerman says for years, veterans and people struggling with debilitating diseases have had to fight for help to ease their physical and emotional pain.
We want more options than just pills from the VA.
It's why he's excited to see the bill take a historic step.
This is the 7th year, and thankfully the final year that it's gone through the Senate. So now it's time for it to go through the House of Representatives and get it through there so South Carolinians can have access to medical cannabis.